I think it's the wrong projection of this issue. There is no split in Pakistani message. This is just a projection of a few. Only a few scholars are projecting this issue in this way. There is no split of liberals and conservatives in Pakistan. It is against the temperament of the Pakistani to fix them into a formulated phrase. The phrase like liberal or phrase like secular, it isn't possible here in Pakistan, because Pakistan is a place, it is a meeting point of so many cultures, and it is also the departure point of so many cultures. It was a Buddhist dominated area before the advent of the Arabs. Then Arab came. After the Arabs, Turks came here. Then we have the invasion of the British regime here. Then the return of the British. That was a departure of a culture from this area. All the cultures, all the religions have their influences on this land. And in such a land, it isn't possible to fix someone in a formulated phrase.
Okay, Shabana, I'm going to give you the last word on this. We've just heard there that there are no divisions in Pakistan, that it's against, as Amjad Wahid told us, against the temperament of the Pakistani people.
I mean, as there would be in any society, in any country, there are quite obviously divisions. But I think that it's not just so black and white as people have portrayed it to be. You know, it's not just a few versus these 50,000 extremists who take to the streets and things, because, you know, it was about 40,000 of them at a rally in a city of 17 million. So I think that there are a lot of moderates in Pakistan. But I feel, like I've said already, that there's an atmosphere of fear. So it's stopped a lot of these people from speaking out.
Okay, we still have a minute left. Let me go to Asma Jahinga. Asma Jahinga, what is the way forward from here?
Well, first of all, I think that, you know, we have to address this issue more seriously in an atmosphere where people begin to sit back and look at it in the sense of protecting people. Secondly, it is not just this law. There's a larger issue here. We have become like rat heads. Do you know that in our country, people used to take their children to a saint and they used to put an iron cap on their heads so that it just didn't grow. We need to take that iron cap off, and we need to breathe, not ourselves, but let our minds breathe as well. And so we need to go forward. We need to go forward and with the idea of giving people justice, with the idea of non-discrimination, with the idea also that those sections of society that incite people to violence must be brought to book. And this is what our government has not done so far.
Okay, that's where we're going to have to leave it. Thanks to all of you for being with us. And thank you for watching the show. Remember, you can follow the show on Facebook and see what we're up to there. You can give us your feedback on the show and post your questions and comments. From me and the team in Washington, D.C., see you next time.
Taken stolen goods, and he's now dumping them onto the world without any sort of consideration for consequences.
From people making the news.
If the North will be saved a lot of trouble, I think it is important that they should come together.
To those it affects.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines.
Most South Koreans are not interested in unification.
Is the inside story. At this time on Al Jazeera.
As geeks take on dictators, bloggers turn dissidents, and social networks root for social justice, governments are going cyber, spying on their citizens, erecting firewalls like iron curtains, and closing down websites. We ask, is cyber-generated change virtual or real? Empire at this time on Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera focused on the bitter divides.
The battle for Kilinochchi is entering its final phase.
We focused on the large and the small, on a resurgent Taliban.
The Taliban remain one step ahead.
And the battles within. We focused when the rains fell and the ground shook.
Half the population is dead.
Throughout Asia, we focus on news and documentaries that matter to you. Al Jazeera, television that truly inspires.
Decoding the stories that shape our views.
Those images catapulted the story back into the headlines.
Everything that I thought would be easy was hard, and everything that I thought would be hard was easy.
From mainstream media to consumer-led advertising.
There are other options.
What's at the front line of global media?
This has been reported worldwide.
With a major media angle to it.
Comparing news and challenging views. The Listening Post, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Anger in Bahrain's capital as the dead from Thursday's violence are buried. Hello, I'm Sahil Rahman. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. Also on the programme. After Thursday's fatal suppression of protests in Libya, pro- and anti-government demonstrators are on the streets again. Crowds mass in Cairo's Liberation Square to celebrate a week since the departure of President Hosni Mubarak. And in Africa, can Uganda's President Museveni extend his 25 years in office? The polls have opened. Convicted of stealing state secrets, US anger after a Chinese court upholds the conviction against an American geologist. Welcome to the programme. In Bahrain, funerals are being held for the victims of Thursday's violence. Mourners shouted anti-government slogans and called the dead martyrs. At least 4 people were killed when protests were violently put down in the capital. Manama, our correspondent, who for security reasons we're not naming, is in the capital. We're managing now to see pictures of those funerals. Just tell us what went on.
Yes, well, there were a large number of people gathered for these funerals. There were 3 different people being buried on the island of Sitra, which is part of Bahrain. 4 have died after that police crackdown that took place at the Pearl roundabout. And a mixture of emotions of those that were involved that I spoke to. Some very angry, others obviously sad. Many people knew those that died and know many of those that have been injured. But the other emotion, I think, among the people there is fear. I think people are concerned. They are taking a risk, they believe, by coming to a march like this with thousands of people, because the military have made it quite clear they don't want any demonstrations. And although this was a funeral procession, the numbers in some ways could be described as making it a demonstration too. And certainly the slogans that were being shouted by some of those there, the angry slogans, everyone taking part knows there is a chance that the military and the police might take some action. And when you speak to them, they say that they are prepared.